What's up guys, Mikegravia here and welcome back to the final installment of how to build your own custom Vivarium Buttress Tree. In this video, I'm going to show you my step-by-step layered colouring techniques. Alright, so let's get straight into it. First thing we're going to do is take care of this base. You obviously want to cover up this ugly pink XPS foam. We are simply going to take our Kraken Black Pro foam and run it over the ledges to smooth out the base and give the illusion of a little bit of depth and height to the insert. Once you've covered all the ledges, you are going to give it a real light spray with some water, and this is going to help cure the foam. Give it about 10 minutes and then start pressing the foam as it's still curing to flatten it out, and again this just helps kind of bring the whole piece together. As you can see here, I'm pressing that foam right up against the bottom of the roots. This is going to give a pretty cool illusion later on that the roots are kind of sticking out of the ground. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect at this stage because you'll see later one of the next steps will help you bring it all together. Next step is to cover the black foam, and we're going to use some Type Bond 3 and some cocoa fiber to achieve the desired result. Once you have those things, time to mix them together, and you're going to go about 1-to-1 ratio here. I'm just using an old cap and an old knife to scrape out as much glue as I can. Once you're ready, add in your 2 cups of cocoa fiber and give it a good stir, good mix. You want the consistency to be somewhat like a pancake mix batter, and it should all look like the same color by the time you're done. Next step is to go ahead and apply this mix to the base. You may need to do this 2 or 3 times, but I'm just using a cheap silicone spatula that I believe I got from the dollar store, and I'm just using it to spread this mix like butter right up against the roots, and you have to repeat this process across the entire base. It looks like a really light color, but it will dry darker, which you'll see in the next clip. Here we have the final look after about 3 days of drying time. And now the fun part, the paint. This is where the tree really comes to life. Some colors you're going to need: black, raw umber, raw sienna, and you're also going to need some unbleached titanium. We begin our color journey with a heavy black wash. You're going to need about a grape-sized blob of black paint and a 1/4 cup of water. Mix it till you get an inky-like consistency, and then slap it all over the tree. Think of this as pre-shading. We're basically mapping out the deepest shadows of the tree and ensuring that every little groove and tightest crack have a sense of infinite depth. As you can see, I'm not really being too careful with the black wash. I'm just making sure I get the whole of the tree covered, and especially where the roots meet the dirt. You don't want it to be perfect, you want it to be a little bit messy. It will help with the overall natural look by the end of the video. If it looks something like this, you're on the right track, and you're going to let this completely dry before the next step. For the next color layer, you're going to need a grape-sized glob of paint and 1/8 cup of water. So still quite a watery mix, tiny bit thicker than the last. And you're going to paint it up and down the tree. Do not paint across left and right. as you're going to catch the black that we've just established as the base layer, and you're going to take away some of that detail in those grooves that we have the black wash in. So what we're trying to achieve here with our earthy mid-tone brown wash is to filter over that black and create a natural transition. The tree is starting to now establish that wet wood look that is kind of synonymous with the rainforest, and this is what it looks like once done. Again, it needs to be completely dry before the next step. Now the tree is really going to start coming to life. Get a dry brush, put a tiny bit of burnt sienna, and then wipe 90% of it off the brush. What this is going to do is going to add a layer of oxidized warmth. In the real jungle, tannins and clay often stain the bark, and this orange hued brown color is going to mimic that biological heat and make the tree pop against that green foliage in your vivarium. Again, make sure we're going up and down, just catching the very top of the grooves. We're not trying to paint a solid color here. And this is what it's going to look like after. The penultimate step is to get the airbrush out. I'm doing 1 part black, 2 parts raw umber, and as much thinner as you need for your individual airbrush. What I'm trying to do here is ground the tree into the environment. I'm using the airbrush here to spray deep shadows at the base. This simulates ambient occlusion. This is the way light struggles to reach the very bottom of a massive root system or tree. It's a subtle touch, I believe, that adds massive realism into these pieces. The final touch is a surgical dry brush of unbleached titanium. Again, a tiny bit on your brush, and you're going to wipe the majority of it off. In nature, the highest points of bark can often get sun-bleached or catch the light through the canopy, so this creates a spectacular highlight and defines the texture for the viewer's eye. It might seem like a small detail when you're painting your tree, but it makes a huge difference in person. This is the final product. I really hope you've enjoyed the series. Please like, subscribe, and comment below if you'd like to see more of these, and enjoy this piece as I put it into a vivarium. Thank you for watching.